Let's get our narratives going for the NFC South, folks. The Saints, the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Falcons. We already have our Bucks one up because they already started training camp, and we already have that up. So what we're looking for the Bucks in training camp is how Tom Brady is looking after surgery, and are they spicing up their offense and defense, not being the same as last year. There's really not much that we have to kind of watch for because we already know they're going to be great, coaching wise, player wise. They returned all their starters, offense, defense, all 22 starting players from the Super Bowl, and they're running it back this season. So we just have to see them spice up the offense and defense. I mean, that's what kind of wins in this league, evolving. Like we said, teams have an entire offseason to prepare and watch what you did, especially Super Bowl champions. When you are now the team to beat, they're going to shut down everything that you did well last season. So you have to kind of evolve and spice it up a little bit and try and do new things. So Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles defensively, they got to switch it up, and we believe they are going to. We're not really truly worried about it. And like we said, it's the Bucks. They're Super Bowl champions last season. There's really not that much that we need to watch for. And Tom Brady's already been saying that he's feeling even better than he did last season. So we already kind of have one of those narratives kind of already solidified. Tom Brady's going to look real gosh dang good in training camp. All right, but let's go to these other NFC South teams. Let's start with the Saints. And I mean, the big narrative, obviously, is who's going to win the starting quarterback battle, folks. Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. And I believe Taysom Hill is going to be, this is going to be like a true 50-50 kind of quarterback battle, folks. I don't really think the Saints are leaning one way or the other. The only kind of big green flag that Jameis Winston has under his belt is that he threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns one season. Obviously, the knock, he threw 30 interceptions as well. But, I mean, he had a great statistical year, Jameis Winston did, and Taysom Hill has never played an entire season. So that is a little bit of a kind of in favor for Jameis Winston, but I truly do believe that Sean Payton is going to give Taysom Hill a full opportunity to go out and prove that he can be the starting man out here. So our first narrative is who wins the starting quarterback job. If we're putting kind of a percentage on it right now, I think it's probably 51% Jameis, 49% Taysom Hill. We've been seeing Jameis Winston work out a lot. Once again, he has experience in the league for an entire season. So I would say that it kind of weighs a little bit more in Sean Payton's mind over Taysom Hill. Just a tad slightly. But this is going to be big. No Michael Thomas at the beginning of training camp or even the beginning of the season. So how are these quarterbacks going to play without having kind of that A1 tier 1 wide receiver? Which one of these quarterbacks is going to be able to elevate kind of tier 2-ish wide receivers up to kind of try to get them to tier 1 status, but just try to kind of enhance their play overall? So it's not going to be easy here for any of these, quarterbacks. Hey, like last season you had Michael Thomas, you had Emmanuel Sanders, so you had, two great weapons to kind of, make it a little bit easier on you to throw the ball. You're not going to have that this year, this offseason. So it's truly going to be who can throw the ball the best out here. So who wins the starting job? I kind of want it to be Taysom Hill. I'm not going to lie. I want to see what this man can do. We loved what we saw from him. He's a great dual threat quarterback. We love his speed. We love his accuracy. And we believe he can make all the throws. He was airing it out. In the one kind of, reservation and concern that we have on Jameis Winston is he going to hold a little bit of it back a little bit because he knows the biggest knock on him is the interceptions, and he knows he can't go out and be kind of throwing the ball around willy-nilly, because as soon as that first interception happens, all of the kind of memories and all of the kind of jokes and memes on Twitter are going to be thrown into the forefront and be like, yeah, same old Jameis Winston, still throwing picks. And that's going to affect his psyche, Jameis Winston's mind and ego, and now he's going to kind of go into turtle mode and not try to make those throws anymore because he knows he can't throw interceptions. So that's the one concern that we have on Jameis Winston. All right, so who wins the starting quarterback job? that's really the main narrative. Just because Drew Brees has held so much over this team for so long and has been that great leadership. So who wins the starting job? Leadership. Who steps up in that kind of leadership role? We kind of read an article a couple weeks ago on the show that the defense was like, hey, we've got enough veterans here. Yes, we're going to miss Drew Brees, but we're going to do the best that we can of stepping up and filling that leadership role. So who truly steps up in the training camp, in the preseason, that goes forward and steps forward, that kind of sets the tone for the entire year? So who steps up as the true one leader? That's really the two big things that we have to watch for. Also, we can throw this in here. Sean Payton. We talk a lot about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Who deserves the credit for that? And, the Saints, the overall performance has been a little lackluster. Only been in one Super Bowl. They're a little kind of Aaron Rodgers-esque. So, once again, is Sean Payton, did he rely a little bit too much on Drew Brees, or did Drew Brees hold Sean Payton back a little bit? That is something that we're going to be able to see this season, folks. So, can Sean Payton coach? That's another narrative. Just because he doesn't have that kind of A1, Tier 1, certified first ballot Hall of Famer quarterback to work with. You got Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. This is nothing to kind of get excited about, to kind of brag about, to be like, yeah, we can win Super Bowls year one at least. You're not going to win a Super Bowl year one with these two quarterbacks. It would be surprising if they did. So let's see what Sean Payton can do this year, folks. All right, so those are our three narratives for the Saints. Who's going to win the starting quarterback job? Who steps up as the true one leader? And can Sean Payton coach? All right, the other team up here in the NFC South is the Carolina Panthers. All righty. And, man, oh man, I did not love their offseason move off of Teddy Bridgewater for Sam Darnold, and that's really going to be it. Can Sam Darnold play? That's it. I don't even know. We don't even know if this man is good, folks. Let me write this down, and then I'll bring up the stats. So, can Sam Darnold play? It's not, is Sam Darnold going to lead this team to the playoffs? Is he going to lead this team to a Super Bowl? It's flat out, can this man play quarterback? I don't know if he can, folks. When we look at these stats, they are absolutely atrocious, folks. I mean, you better buckle up. And yes, like we said, talking about Sam Darnold obviously is not 100% in fact or ingrained or anything, just because he was under Todd Bowles and Adam Gase. Two not good head coaches. Todd Bowles is a good defensive coordinator. We know this, obviously winning a ring with the Bucs. But Adam Gase is just pure trash, folks. We know that 100%. So, yes, you can put the blame on the coaches, but still, you cannot be having these bad stats. I mean, these are really, really bad stats, folks. The completion percentage is the worst I've ever seen. 59% last season? What the hell is that, folks? His career average is 59%. He had a 61.9, which is borderline good. But overall, we want to see something better than Sam Darnold, folks. So he's never really proven to get it done. Interceptions are always high. 15 interceptions year one, 13 interceptions year two, 11 interceptions year three with only 9 touchdowns, folks. I mean, you can't be throwing more interceptions than you have touchdowns. This man's career touchdown and interception ratio is 45 touchdowns, 39 interceptions. I mean, that is absolutely trash, folks. Never thrown above 3,000 yards, folks. Once again, year two, where he had 61% completion percentage and 3,000 yards. Yes, that's all right. It's nothing great. It's borderline good. We classify good as 62 to 65% completion percentage, 3,000 plus yards, and 2-to-1 touchdown and interception ratio. And Sam Darnold is just borderline good here. And then he took a big step back year three, so never really great there. So I'm not sold that this man can even play, folks. And Matt Rule is kind of risking the biscuit that this man can play. You had Teddy Bridgewater, who you built a real solid foundation with, folks. He had 69% completion percentage last year. Obviously, the wins were very, very lackluster. I totally agree with that. Teddy Bridgewater kind of floundering at the end of games, at the end of halves, not scoring the ball there. I understand that. But he had 2,000-yard receivers, folks, and that was fantastic. And that's going to be another benchmark that we're going to have to see from Sam Darnold. We see their two wide receivers are Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. In last season, Robbie Anderson had 1,000 yards receiving, fantastic, with Teddy Bridgewater, and DJ Moore also put up 1,100 yards. So Teddy Bridgewater had 2 1,000-yard receivers. That's absolutely fantastic, folks. So that's going to be kind of the bar for Sam Darnold. Can he do what Teddy Bridgewater did last season and more and more? So that's going to be big for Sam Darnold. Can that man play? Another thing to watch out for in training camp is Christian McCaffrey. Is he kind of going back to his old days, folks? I mean, when you look at what Christian McCaffrey can do, it's absolutely spectacular, folks. I mean, his stats are truly just absolutely amazing. Probably the best dual threat running back the game has ever seen. Do I dare put that on him? I think I could, folks. Obviously, the injury last year, truly unfortunate. But in 2019, 1,300 rushing yards and then another 1,000 receiving for a grand total of 2,300 yards. He led the league in that, folks. Absolutely magnificent. That's fantastic. The year before that, very, very similar. 1,000 yards rushing with 867 yards receiving for a grand total of 1,965 yards. So this man is one of the best dual threat running backs the game has ever seen. But the injury last year, does he take a step back? Does he not get back up to that great level of play? Does Matt Rule flounder with this man? Does Matt Rule not know how to work this man? So can Christian McCaffrey return to elite, and I'm putting elite in all caps, form? And then, Matt Rule, can the man coach? This is another kind of thing. Last season, it was all right. I didn't love what he did in the offseason, getting rid of Teddy Bridgewater. I didn't really think he gave him a fair chance here. I mean, we have a new head coach and a new quarterback, and you don't have your best player on your team. So it's like, yeah, you went, I think they only won 4 games, which, like we said, was very, very low. We wanted to really see like a 5, 6, 7 win, even like an 8-win season from that Panthers team with a new head coach, with a new quarterback. But I thought it was a solid foundation to lay for them to kind of build upon this year, especially with getting Christian McCaffrey back. That would have just elevated the overall team in wins and level of play and all that. So can Matt Rule coach? You're going into year 2. He made this decision himself. He chose to get rid of Teddy Bridgewater. He chose Sam Darnold. So this is all going to fall on Matt Rule, and it's going to be sink or swim this year. Let's see if he kind of, gets it done. So Matt Rule, can he coach? And does his offseason trades, I'll do moves. Does offseason moves pay off? Because if, Teddy Bridgewater's, flinging the ball around in Denver and Sam Darnold is floundering here, it's going to be a bad look for Matt Rule. So those are our 3 narratives for the Panthers going into training camp. Can Sam Darnold play quarterback? Let's see what this man is looking like. Can Christian McCaffrey return to elite form? And is Matt Rule, can he coach? And are his offseason moves paying off? Is Teddy Bridgewater going out and winning that Broncos starting job? Or did he lose it to Drew Lock? Because that would have kind of said, hey, Matt Rule, it's a little bit of a good decision that you made. So we'll see. All right, the last team to talk about in the NFC South is the Atlanta Falcons. All righty. The big one, folks. Calvin Ridley, year 2. What is he doing there in training camp? Year 2 or year 3? Let me get this up real quick. I think year 3. Calvin Ridley, here we go. Year 4. Oh, he's going into year 4. Dang. Yeah, year 4, Calvin Ridley, folks. Now the A1 tier 1 wide receiver on this team. No more Julio Jones. It's Calvin Ridley. He's number 1. So how does Calvin Ridley adjust to being A1 tier 1 wide receiver? And we think he's going to handle it fantastic because we saw the numbers when Julio Jones was out last season. Calvin Ridley was doing his thing. So we're not worried about it, but that is a narrative that we are going to try and keep track of. Another narrative, how is Arthur Smith looking? New first-year head coach for this Falcons team. He was the offensive coordinator for the Titans these last 2 seasons. So we love that. We loved what that Titans offense was doing last season in the last 2 seasons under Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, making Ryan Tannehill look like an above-average game-managing quarterback out there, getting to the playoffs, the AFC Championship game, obviously a little worse last season, but getting Derrick Henry in the running game involved heavily and, working with 2 great wide receivers and making them kind of get solid production. So, once again, we're big on Arthur Smith, but we have to see what he's doing here in Atlanta year one, and we can get a nice glimpse of that in training camp. So, how is Arthur Smith adjusting to head coaching? I don't believe Arthur Smith has ever been a head coach. Let me double check this real quick. Let's get his coaching history up. Alrighty. Offensive coordinator for the Titans in his last 2 years. He was a tight ends coach, offensive assistant coach, defensive coach, quality control. So, yeah, he's been in the league since 2007 coaching, and he's finally gotten his chance as a head coach. He's a head coach now for the Falcons. So it's going to be, what can you do, folks? You only get, a small window to truly prove that you can get it done. And this offense is decently loaded here. And that brings us to our next kind of, narrative to watch out for, because there is one glaring, not great spot here on this Falcons roster. It's not the tight end. It's Kyle Pitts. We love it. They also have, Hayden Hurst as their other tight end, which is also proven. Love it. They were both invited to Tight End University. Once again, we love that. They have Calvin Ridley. They have Russell Gage. They've got weapons everywhere besides the running back. They have Mike Davis, who we're not in love with. We count him as like a solid tier 2 running back in this league, but this Falcons team doesn't have that elite, tier 1 running back that is kind of needed to, take the attention away from the passing game and just get the running game, above and beyond. So they had Mike Davis. Mike Davis was the running back for the Panthers last year, filling in for Christian McCaffrey, and he only had like 600 yards rushing. It wasn't anything great. So now coming on this Falcons team, when it's Mike Davis or even Cordell Patterson, which once again, it's like he's not that great either. So another narrative that we're going to watch for is, do the Falcons get a free agent running back? The running back that we really want to see the Falcons go out and get is Le'Veon Bell. We really think that, his skill set could truly work for this Falcons team. Just that sheer speed that Le'Veon brings, working with Calvin Ridley, that'd be and Kyle Pitts even. He's got great speed. So there could be really great speed all over this field. Mike Davis isn't up to that. Cordell Patterson isn't up to that. Obviously, when you bring in Le'Veon Bell, you get the not good side of just kind of his attitude. Every team he leaves, he kind of burns the bridge. He kind of calls them all out. We just heard him call out Andy Reid the other couple weeks ago, and that wasn't anything great. So obviously that side is never great with Le'Veon Bell. Ever since he's left Pittsburgh, it's been a little bit of a downward spiral for that man, and we hope he can get back on track. But he's got great speed and great talent, so I think that would be a good move for this Falcons team to make. Once again, Arthur Smith is used to having an A1 tier 1 running back. Obviously I don't know if we can put Le'Veon Bell right back into A1 tier 1 status, real kind of top tier 2 running back status. But he could definitely work his way back up to tier 1 running back status in this league, top 5 running back in this league. I think he can get there still. So that's what the Falcons, I think that's kind of their missing piece. And if they go out and get it, this Falcons team could be real great in that division, folks. All right, so our narratives for the training camps. We got the Saints. Who wins the starting quarterback job? Who steps up as the true one leader? And can Sean Payton coach? For the Panthers, can Sam Darnold play quarterback, folks? Can Christian McCaffrey return to elite form? And does Matt Rule, can he coach? And does his offseason moves pay off? And then for the Falcons, how does Calvin Ridley adjust to being the A1 tier 1 wide receiver on the squad? How does Arthur Smith adjust to head coaching? And do the Falcons go out and get a free agent running back?